There is a locution, dumbing down, which I rather don't care for. I mean, where do I begin complaining about that use of words? I'll begin here. Maybe I can begin and end here. Quite often, I do hear here and there. I don't know if I read it or on Talking Heads, people on podcasts or whatever, but can you dumb it down for us idiots? I just think that the whole phrase is, at least, let's suppose that the student really is dumb. Would that mean that they were only capable of learning the dumb version? Now, here's a practical response. What's meant is that, well, for lay people, and I even request, I mean, I myself use that expression for lay people. Give me the layperson's description, please. You know, I'm not a physicist. I mean, I'm desperate for layperson's descriptions of physics that can actually put up with, like, my idiocy. Because so far as physics go, I am perfectly illiterate. All I know are some whatever I come across. I spend some time reading about different aspects of the double slit experiment. You know, I'll stare at the Schrodinger equation off and on for a day or two, things like that. Then I wind up looking up the history of the notated symbols. And, I just do whatever I'm capable of until whatever. I mean, that's the whole thing. I'm interested in shifting attention, popular attention. I am interested in shifting popular attention away from the idea of a certain kind of mystique of authoritative position. It is very familiar in the philosophy classroom to hear real exhortations from any and all instructors that indeed there are no dumb questions. And in fact, it is frequent that it is the, at first glance, dumb questions sometimes, that turn out to be interesting. Now, for humans, time is relatively uniform in terms roughly defined by the length of the day, the rising and the setting of the sun, and the mechanical wheels in your Patek or your Rolly. Rolly? Are they called? Rolleiflex. Rolleiflex. Isn't that it's on Mill Plateau, I know that. It's an album called Rolleiflex. Rolleiflex something or other. And it's a camera. Anyway. Time is objectively uniform. Let's just assume that. Time is objectively uniform in the news cycle and in the length of a day and in the distance between breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I don't know, how fast does thought move? I mean, if you think one sentence or one proposition per minute, what's the difference between that and thinking one proposition in 10 minutes or in 1 hour or in 1 day? There are differences. According to how much an individual knows, the temporal duration of the unfolding of that bit of knowledge might be widely variable. I mean, let's suppose that you understand something really, really well. Like, let's suppose that I understand the concept of the Hegelian Aufhebung really, really well. I mean, I don't, but let's suppose that I do. What would be a version that I could dumb down? Because I've certainly attempted, probably in large part in vain, maybe, based on the responses, I don't know. I mean, not recently, but I haven't tried this for a number of years, but you know, every now and then I've gotten questions from somebody who was not studying philosophy, but they had like a philosophy requirement, and so they ask a question about Hegel and what's all this stuff about thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. So beyond those words, which are like at the title of the chapter, I mean, actually, I mean, what words he uses? He uses all sorts of, all sorts. That sounds stupid. What does he use for thesis, antithesis, synthesis? Does he even use those words? Because I do know that there is a heck of a lot of objection, or at the very least, very long-winded qualifications that have to be made anytime a professional philosopher hears the terms thesis, antithesis, synthesis, and let's say they know Hegel and they know what whatever the popular criticism is along those lines. They, in order to dumb down the concept, it seems to be at every point in time a constantly self-renewing cost-benefit analysis according to a handful of parameters, such like how much time you have left at your lunch date, how much tolerance is the person that you're trying to seduce, how much tolerance do they have for long-winded answers? So it has to be dumbed down, delivered with fidelity, and maybe not so long-winded. Well, I don't know how many pages the phenomenology or the logic are. Many hundreds of pages. And if we said that the main subject matter of those two works, the phenomenology and the logic, are scratch that, whatever I said, the socio-dialectical structure of knowledge. The socio-dialectical structure of knowledge. So, my approach is to start with the Kantian antinomies. If you know the Kantian antinomies really well and you really feel the problem, then I would describe Aufhebung as antinomy plus synthesis. So that's really short, compact, pithy definition that Hegelian social dialectic is Kantian antinomy plus, what did I say? Synthesis, but plus synthesis. That's the Hegelian Aufhebung. All right, well, the description is short enough. It's antinomy plus synthesis equals Aufhebung. Wow, it's one equation, right? So do you know that? I've told it to you. It's not dumbed down at all, but I've told it to you. You can remember it. Antinomy plus, what was it? Antinomy plus synthesis equals Aufhebung. Now, it sounds simple to me. I think it's correct. You hear me say it. It sounds like it should be easy to understand, and nevertheless, if this is the first time you're hearing words like Aufhebung and Hegel, the main way that I would then try to explain it is I would first have to start from the basis that the individual starts from. So I'd probably inquire maybe about certain conflict in their life, and I would tarry with the notion of whatever the obstruction is that keeps the conflict sustained, right? And I would define the antinomy in terms of that individual's struggle vis-a-vis an obstruction a real obstruction coming from the side of the world, the objective side of the world vis-a-vis the subjective individual. So we all have various conflicts, and we can frame those in terms of antinomy. And so then the proposition is just you add synthesis there. Join both the positions into a new configuration. So now maybe I've explained it. I mean, it's probably not far off what I've just said. So it's not dumbed down. I just don't believe that there is such a thing in first principles inquiry. And all you have to do to engage in first principles inquiry is just know that that's what you're doing. That's all. It's a regulative ideal. You just keep carrying the question with you. What are the conditions? What is the principle? What is the principle that accounts for this conflict? Is it possible that we can describe this deadlock in synthetic terms that includes both the for and against into a new configuration that both sides can live with, and where nobody is losing face? Why not?